कुमार स्वामी नायक गोंगो लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
In the news tonight, drama as new leader of opposition is elected. Alvik Maharaj slams Kurindrani's comments. And schools face bullying culture.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nani.
Bulavinaka, Fiji. New SODELPA leader William Ngavoka has dropped a bombshell in an exclusive interview with FBC News this afternoon. Ngavoka says the SODELPA caucus defied President Ratu Epenisa Thakombau's call for them to unite in support of Ngavoka as opposition leader. He says despite this request, 14 members voted for Ratu Naingama Lalambalavu to become opposition leader. Only 5 supported Ngavoka. Confirmation tonight that the SODELPA caucus went against the party line on who should be leader of opposition.
There was a request from the president to combine the 2 offices under me, but the caucus has the final say, and they believe that the demarcation of the 2 roles should be maintained.
According to Ngavoka, Ratu Naingama will be in charge only for matters within Parliament, but questions have arisen as to what will happen if there is a difference of opinions between the 2.
We will thrash it out. We will talk. I know what he wants. Yeah. If he has any reservations, then there will be dialogue.
It's an unusual scenario. 2 men holding power over 1 party. Ngavoka insists, however, that at the end of the day, he is calling the shots and he will lead SODELPA in the 2022 general election.
I'm the leader of SODELPA. I control the campaign. I'm in charge of everything around in Fiji for the campaign, right? I am leading this party to victory. Okay, and he will be an integral part of that.
FBC News understands influential members of the SODELPA caucus lobbied for Ratu Naingama to become opposition leader, despite the party choice of William Ngavoka. Earlier today, Tuidakau Ratu Naingama Lalambalavu was elected opposition leader, but his nomination was not unanimous. Ratu Naingama had to take on SODELPA leader William Ngavoka in a caucus vote to choose a replacement for Sitiveni Rambuka. A party leader has always been opposition leader in Parliament, but SODELPA's MPs have broken away from tradition. There is also word that Roteimumu Kepa played a major role in the process, and Party President Ratu Epenisa Thakombau and General Secretary Emelindu Turanga's advice was ignored. The question now is who is calling the shots and who does the party look to for leadership?
I now declare the Honourable Ratu Naingama Lalambalavu elected as leader of the opposition.
14 elected SODELPA MPs voted for Ratu Naingama, while 5 votes were cast for William Ngavoka.
The parliamentary leader is to be chosen from within caucus, which is the members of parliament that have made it into parliament at the end of an election. So no, there is no specific provision that the party leader automatically becomes the parliamentary leader.
So now SODELPA has 1 leader in Parliament via Ratu Naingama and another outside via William Ngavoka. FBC News asked Ratu Naingama on whether this is another sign of division within the party.
Well, you're entitled to your own opinion on that. And I will not delve into that much.
The party has decided to separate the 2 positions. Caucus felt that that's the way to go. And that's the way the vote came out this morning. It is a caucus decision.
Ngavoka pipped Sitiveni Rambuka to become the party leader when the management board met just over a week ago. However, members of SODELPA who sit in Parliament have today signalled that they are not bound to toe the party line.
It's ideal to have a unanimous situation. It's not required. It is ideal. I mean, if we were to go from here and everyone agrees on one name, then it is a sign of unity. However, in this instance, there was a majority vote.
I rely very much on teamwork to take us forward in this important journey, and especially in this important position to portray that we are the alternative government.
Ratunaingama says he wants SODELPA to be seen as an alternative government in parliament, and any criticism of government initiatives must be constructive. National Federation Party leader and opposition MP Professor Biman Prasad has confirmed they had no say with the election of Ratunaingama Lalambalavu as the new opposition leader. Speaking to FBC News, Professor Prasad says they will continue to support any appointed MP to take up the role, as their vote will not make any difference with only 3 NFP members in Parliament. Josiah Nanunga reports.
Welcoming the appointment of Ratunaingama, Professor Biman Prasad says the new leader is an asset for the opposition as he possesses a wealth of political experience.
The leadership of the leader of the opposition is decided by the majority party, and that's SODELPA, and this morning they decided to elect Ratunaingama as the leader of the opposition. We are a minor party in the opposition, and we have to work with anyone who is appointed as the leader of the opposition, because we don't have a say in who is appointed as the leader of the opposition.
SODELPA's Rofilipe Tuisawao says the selection process was carried out transparently. Rofilipe is optimistic that Ratunaingama will consolidate the bipartisanship between the opposition and the government.
Looking forward to that. In terms of collaboration, that has been offered to the government side, and it is for them to respond to that. Whoever is the opposition leader, that is an area which needs to be pursued and improved, that bipartisanship and collaboration.
Fellow MPs Alote Ronronro shared similar sentiments as they now bank on Ratunaingama to take the party and the opposition forward.
He's a seasoned politician. He's been there. I believe he was also former leader of the opposition, so it's good. I believe he'll exceedingly perform well in the post.
Ratunaingama took up his new role this morning. Josiah Nanunga, FBC News.
Assistant Minister for Employment Alvik Maharaj has today criticized the call by opposition MP Inosi Kurindrani for the Attorney General to relinquish his position pending a police investigation. While making his contribution to the President's speech, Kurindrani yesterday called on Attorney General Said Kayum to step down. However, Maharaj says there is a difference between a complaint lodged and being charged.
He has given a statement to the police. The police has not said that they have been interfered with. The DPP's office has not said that they have been interfered with. Honorable Kurindrani has said that other ministers had stepped down. Yes, one had, but only after he was charged for an electoral-related offence.
Kurindrani accused Syed Kayum of being involved in a terrorist act and said he should step out of cabinet. He says the same yardstick needs to be applied to Syed Kayum as other MPs in the Fiji First who were under police or FICAC investigation. The newly elected opposition leader has urged President to consider the release of prisoners who have a good track record and qualify for parole. Ratunaingama Lalambalavu says they must be given another chance to be integrated into the community. He adds there is a need to take a step forward and see how Fijians can interact more appropriately by accepting each other. Ratunaingama adds the government should relook at the role of the Mercy Commission by forgiving those who have served their time and could be in line for release.
If we have the audacity to come here and preach about the yellow ribbon and all that, I hope if it could sink further to take account of all that have been affected. Some have served more than 10 years. Some have gone beyond 20 years. And some of us have served our time as well, but we are back.
Bullying in schools has been identified as one of the major causes of students missing classes and dropping out of school. A draft report on research carried out on 2,000 primary school students reveals that at least 28% of students have experienced 4 or more types of bullying. Pranita Prakash has more.
The draft report reveals that although the Education Ministry's processes and policies on bullying are understood, they are not consistently implemented in schools.
Verbal bullying, physical bullying, cyberbullying and gender bullying which is all very worrying. While the ministry will review and tighten its policies around this occurrences, we need you to discuss the findings and recommend strategies that will help us control and manage bullying in schools better.
According to the study, there is a relationship between the home environment and bullying perpetration.
We at the ministry feel that parents play a critical role in how children behave, how they grow up, and how they see other human beings. So we urge parents to help reduce bullying by helping their children understand and respect others.
Several participants gathered in Suva today to find solutions to end the culture of bullying in schools.
Bullying does not necessarily mean it is only with the children. Adults also bully children in schools, and therefore we need to have a wider and objective focus.
A massive 6,594 cases of bullying were recorded in schools around the country last year alone. Suva schools recorded 1,280 cases, while Nosori schools recorded 1,260 cases, followed by the Kondrove schools with 1,052 cases. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
Up ahead, plastic manufacturers allegedly duping market vendors. And COVID-19 tests returns negative for remaining crew members.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Environment has discovered that some manufacturers of plastic bags are deceiving market vendors by selling them banned products. This was noted by Permanent Secretary Joshua Wycliffe during a snap check at the Namaka market in Nandi today. Details with Felipe Naikaso.
During his unplanned visit, the PS made shocking discoveries that manufacturers are even giving vendors the receipts that state the plastic bags are 50 microns, but tests show it's actually 30 microns.
We've got the details and the team will start the investigation. We got the names of the vendors and we got the names of the manufacturers as well. So the investigation will be started immediately.
Some vendors have also stated that it's difficult for them to tell if the plastic bag being sold to them is 50 microns and above.
From the beginning, the plastic was a bit thicker, but there was no testing like the one they did today. That they recommend the 50 microns. We don't even know or have an idea of that size of the plastic. But today we are glad that they come around and show us the real measurement.
However, the PS says they will work closely with the councils and market masters to conduct testing on plastic bags being brought in by suppliers or middlemen.
We will now take action on people who are manufacturing and people who are distributing it. So that in itself will be a bigger awareness, level of awareness.
We are using the paper bags, like I'm using all paper bags.
Similar spot checks are expected to be conducted by the ministry at other markets. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
COVID-19 tests conducted on the remaining 10 crew members on board the freighter MV Island Chief remain negative. Health Minister Dr. Ifiremi Wangainambete made the confirmation today as 2 members on board the vessel tested positive for coronavirus on Sunday. Sanya Nimboila reports the vessel remains under quarantine in Fiji waters.
While 2 positive cases remain in isolation at the Navo hospital, the remaining crew members remain out of danger.
They were tested before they left New Zealand. They have been tested. So far they have been found not to have COVID-19. They are certainly the quarantine area of the bay. 2 cases, border quarantine cases. They are well.
Dr. Wangainambete has reminded the public that misinformation on social media will not help us during these trying times.
What saddens me sometimes, this is propagated by those who do not live in Fiji, And whoever propagates fake news that causes anxiety is not helping in the whole scheme of keeping us COVID contained.
Earlier today, Permanent Secretary for Health confirmed to FBC News that the CWM hospital in Suva is not under lockdown and there are no active COVID-19 cases at the hospital. Dr. Fong says the quarantine facilities at the hospital is currently catering for some non-COVID-19 cases from other Pacific Island countries. This obviously does not mean that we have COVID-19 in the hospital. The ministry has minimized access to the low-token CWM hospitals as a precautionary measure. Sainia Nimboila, FBC News.
The fisheries sector has not only been impacted by COVID-19 but also by climate change. Minister Semi Coroila-Visau highlighted this in Parliament today while responding to the President's speech. Coroila-Visau says the impact of COVID-19 cannot be understated and the ministry is working hard to reposition its strategies to ensure balance between resource use and sustainability. Venina Rakautonga reports.
Food security remains a priority for the Ministry of Fisheries during these times.
The well-being of all Fijians is one of government's priority. The Ministry is working to provide alternatives of an ever-increasing population. In years to come, the world's growing population will need more food, medicine, energy and minerals.
Coroila-Visau says the ministry is working on implementing sustainable measures at a national level.
The Fijian government values its development partners in our effort to balancing our desire to establish marine protected areas, to investing in research development, investing in satellite technology, investing in our policy capacity and capabilities to help with monitoring our exclusive economic zone.
Meanwhile, opposition MP Ratu Antonio Lalambalavu says Fiji is not out of the woods yet and Fijians must remain safe during this festive season.
I urge the government and the Ministry of Health and Medical Services to continue to ensure full and proper PPEs are made available to our frontline workers. Ensure our frontline workers are properly remunerated for their overtime work.
Lalambalavu also commended frontline workers for their continuous effort in ensuring Fiji is COVID contained. Venina Rakautonga, FBC News.
The Singatoka Sand Dunes National Park is recording an increase in grass and forest fires due to changing climate. Ranger Saimoni Naruma says the recent abnormal weather conditions are having a massive impact on one of Fiji's national heritage sites. Kelly Vadala reports.
Climate change is slowly changing the landscape of the sand dunes.
We're starting to see that sometimes when it gets really hot, because most of this sand is the sand material that we have is mostly volcanic sand. So we've noticed that we're having increasing fires too.
Ranger Naruma says the dunes is full of native trees and plantations. In an effort to preserve the heritage site, the park has trained young Fijians to become rangers who now keep a lookout.
Sokonaya ran from their home in Kulukulu and right down to the national park just to warn us that we have fire in the, we have grass, like a fire in the park. Like we could tell that he was really concerned.
The Heritage in Youth Hands program, in partnership with the Shangri-La Resort, ensures students keep the dunes safe and environmentally friendly.
These children, they come from families who are resource users, who are resource owners, and if we can just click a fire in them now, they will grow up into decision makers who can make like sustainable management decisions when using their natural environment.
Rangers at the Singatoka Sand Dunes National Park are also working with nearby communities to protect this site, as trespassing, alcohol consumption and other activities are harming the environment. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
And now to business with Josiah.
Thanks, Edwin. Coming up, Fiji Airways plans special pre-Christmas flight. And cover farmers urged to maintain quality. Stay with us.
Bula nadang bawa prosa ngarse ngor kraki do televizyon navarong na Radio Fiji 1 nandomo ibiti.
Radio Fiji 1 nandomo ibiti.
Fiji Airways will operate a special Catch the Sunset flight on its Airbus A350 aircraft on December 19th, following the success of its previous special flights around the country. The late afternoon flight will give locals a chance to enjoy twilight in the Fijian skies a week out from Christmas. Guests on board will be treated to full on-board service experience. Chief Executive Andre Villion says they've noted the demand for more special flights on Airbus A350. He says a lot of Fijians, both at home and around the world, are buying seats on their special flights as gifts for their family members, allowing them to experience the joy of flight for the first time. Airbnb hikes its IPO shares, valuing itself at up to $42 billion. The increased range means Airbnb could raise as much as $3 billion during its stock market debut on December 10. And now we join Sharon with the latest from the money market.
Hello there. It was a rather quiet day for the traders, with major focus still being on Brexit outcome. The British currency was under immense pressure, shedding as much as 1.5% overnight, but later recouped losses after the leaders announced plans to meet in Brussels. British and EU leaders will meet face-to-face to try and seal a post-Brexit trade deal after failing again to narrow their differences yesterday. Other majors had dipped a friction against the US dollar overnight with a broadly risk-averse mood. The yen held steady against the greenback, while the euro rose, benefiting from growing confidence in the German economy, which is the largest in the eurozone. Traders will also be looking ahead to tomorrow's release of the eurozone's GDP data for the third quarter. So let's see how that sets the tone for our European counterparts tomorrow. But for now, that's all from your HFC Bank.
Sharon, here are the local exchange rates as set early this morning. The Fiji dollar made some gains against the currencies of our regional trading partners, the Aussie and Kiwi dollars, including the PNG Kina and the euro. It slid against the Chinese yuan, US greenback, and the Japanese yen. Commodity prices were mixed. Oil dropped to just above $45 a barrel. Gold rose to $1,867 per ounce, and silver closed up to a few cents at $24 to $64 per ounce. And in growing Fiji, the Fiji Kava Task Force is training farmers on quality standards to improve the quality of kava is produced, harvested, and prepared for consumption and export. Chair Vio Veratautini says kava is consumed widely and its quality should not be compromised. Veratautini says proper drying of kava remains a challenge for the farmers. He adds farmers need to be aware of the different varieties of kava in the country.
Right now we're teaching farmers how to know the 13 different varieties that exist in Fiji, and we are currently working on developing a manual understanding the different types of 13 varieties and which variety best suit which type of soil.
And that's all from Business Tonight. Jamie is up next with sports.
Naka, and good evening in Sports Tonight. Tuwai is a decade's best. And police after football title at Sukuna Bowl. This and more after the break.
हमारे सामने नायक है गोंगवा लिबू लटो का रेडियो फीजी 2 में
It's official. Fiji's produced the best sevens player in the world of the last decade. Fresh off a cup win at the Wairiki Sevens over the weekend with the FDS Barbarians, national rep Jerry Tuwai was today named the Sevens Player of the Decade during the World Rugby Awards 2020. Aquila Dama with the details.
And the winner is Jerry Tuwai from Fiji.
Another milestone achievement for the national seven-star, and he's humbled by the recognition.
I'm really happy to receive this award on behalf of them, of Fiji, my family, and on behalf of everyone who loves playing rugby.
The Olympic gold medalist received more votes than the other nominees, including Samisoni Viribiri, Michaela Pesamino, Tomasi Dama, Tim Mickelson, Cecil Africa, Warner Koch, Ciabello Senatla, and USA 7 speedster Perry Baker.
I know I have lots of respect to the nominees like Cecil and Tim Mickelson. Those two guys really stood the test of time in rugby. And to all the nominees like Rama, Perry Baker, Warner Cox, Senatla, Samson Birbiri, I respect them and I adore them. I love them as a rugby player and as a human being.
Following the announcement this morning, the FRU was over the moon and congratulated Tuai.
He continues to perform at every tournament he participates in. So congratulate him. I also would like to thank supporters and fans in Fiji and abroad who voted for him.
Meanwhile, Tuai and a number of national squad members are expected to feature in the Uluinakau Sevens this weekend. Aquila Dhama, FBC Sports.
After a lapse of 5 years, the Western Suburbs Sevens team is back competing in a local tournament. The side is all fired up to take the field this weekend at the Combat Sports Uluinakau Sevens, which kicks off this Friday. Felipe Naikaso has more.
Despite the numerous challenges faced by the Nadi-based Western Suburbs side, they are determined to stamp their mark in Nosori.
It's not be an easy task for the boys because most of these teams have been playing week in, week out, and they know the ins and outs of participating in a sevens tournament in Fiji.
The revival of the team is also aimed at getting the youth engaged in rugby in the hope of catching the eyes of scouts.
See those talents being wasted in the village. It gives me the courage to jump in again and lead the boys.
Sikituru village has been the home for this side this past month as they prepare for their first major tournament.
It's been a month we've been training, and yeah, we're looking forward to Uluinakau 7, and I hope we'll be in a better place for Uluinakau 7.
The Uluinakau Sevens tournament will kick off on Friday at Ratu Thakambo Park in Nosori. Felipe Naikaso, FBC Sports.
17-year-old sailor Sophia Morgan is the latest Team Fiji athlete to qualify for the Tokyo Olympic Games next year. Like the men's and women's seven sides, the youngster has qualified on merit. Team Fiji chef de mission to Tokyo 2020, Patrick Bauer, says the inclusion of Sophia to the squad is encouraging for the future of the sport in Fiji. Last year, Sophia was part of Team Fiji's women's laser class team that won a silver medal at the Pacific Games in Samoa. The Fiji police football side is ready for the challenge against Army in the annual FMF Rise Fiji Rise Sukuna Bowl football match. The star-studded police team were victors in last year's competition, beating Army 3-1, but no, things will not be easy in 2021. Caroline Itabi with this report.
On paper, the police football team looks a better side, but Captain Aquila Matesuva says they will not take their brothers from the Army for granted.
To play for the Sukuna Bowl with our military brothers, I think one of the biggest challenges that we have already faced is the physicality from them, and especially they are a good team too, just like us, and we are not going out there to underestimate them. I think the boys are prepared very well, and I think their mindset is already tuned up for tomorrow's game against our military brothers.
Police is aware that Army will bring a physical component of the game.
Both the teams wanted to win. I think we've been saying that we are the rightful owner of this trophy, but that is just a talk. I think tomorrow we have to go there and do the job. And I think being on paper has been good as a good team. It doesn't mean that we're going to go there just to walk over a park with our brothers from Andalenambo.
Police midfielder Shahil Dave, who was the star for Suva at the Fiji Fact, is one of the key players for the Blues.
Fiji Fact is done, it's over. And our focus is on Sukuna Bowl now, as we are fighting for our organization. It will be a very tough challenge, as we know that Army will also coming prepared, and we'll also give a tough fight to the Army brothers.
The two sides will meet tomorrow at Albert Park in Suva at 3 p.m. Karlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
Fiji football sensation Roy Krishna continues his goal-scoring momentum this season in the Hero Indian Super League. Krishna scored the lone goal for ATK Mohan Bagan this morning. However, it was too little too late as they lost 2-1 to Jamshedpur. Netball Fiji is in the final stages of identifying a national coach for the Fiji Pearl squad. Secretary Lucy Rokoura has confirmed that 2 Australian coaches have been shortlisted and interviewed. The position was left vacant after Vicky Wilson ended her 2-term contract last year. Rokoura says they are hoping to name the coach no later than February.
Currently we are interviewing our national coach this week, so hopefully taking into consideration the relocation arrangements, we hope to have our national coach in place in February next year. There are currently 2 from Australia that are being interviewed and shortlisted.
In our play of the day, the video assistant referee has once again taken the limelight in controversial fashion in the English Premier League, this time in Southampton's 2-1 win against Brighton this morning. That's it from Sports Tonight. Kritika joins you later with weather, and in Weird and the Wonderful later on, check out the underwater Santa Claus. This and more coming up.
भाई तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
And now let's catch up on today's weather with Kritika.
A trough of low pressure with associated cloud and rain affects the northern and eastern parts of Fiji. Another trough of low pressure lies to the north of Fiji. Looking at the weather around the country, in the west, mostly cloudy and humid conditions, followed by showers late in the afternoon. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, it was a breezy morning, then turned mostly cloudy with showers. And up north, some showers were experienced. At sea, moderate to fresh easterly winds, rough seas. For the tides, the next high tide is at 1:48 tomorrow morning, followed by low tide at 8:11 a.m., sunrise at 5:23 a.m. For tomorrow, occasional rain and isolated thunderstorms over eastern parts of Vanuatu, Taveuni and nearby smaller islands, the eastern parts and interior of Viti-Levu, Lau and Lomai Viti group. Isolated heavy falls likely. Elsewhere, cloudy periods with brief showers and possible isolated afternoon or evening thunderstorms. Isolated heavy falls may lead to flash flooding of low-lying areas. As for the temperatures, they'll be up around 30 despite the rain. And looking at Thursday, expect much of the similar cloudy and rainy conditions. That's the weather for now, and it's back to Edwin.
Thank you, Kritika. And in Fijian Pulse tonight, we ask, what do you think of the new opposition leader?
I am happy with the decision that Ratu Nangama has been chosen as opposition leader, but I think nobody can replace Rambuka.
People are going to get a chance to become a opposition leader and fight for this country is actually good, you know. You should give chance to new people.
It's good for Fijian citizens. A new idea is going to come.
A very good announcement for the entire Fiji Island group.
In the world of the weird and the wonderful, Santa Claus brings holiday joy to aquarium visitors with underwater show. Most were just amazed the fat man could swim in all that outfit. And recapping our main stories, drama as new leader of opposition is appointed. Alvik Maharaj slams Kurindrani's comments, and schools face bullying culture. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question, this week we are asking, do you think Sitiveni Rambuka will form a new party for the next general election? Visit our FBC News website to answer. And on to our shot of the day, a gloomy day in Nasinu village, Savu Savu, captured by Divek Gounder. You can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fpcnews@fpc.com.fj or share it with us via our social media pages on Facebook and Twitter. That's your news for this evening. Until tomorrow, Modemanda.
कुमारस्वामी नायक है गोंगो लिबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।